and someone that we have become big fans of. We're happy to have him back on the show. Is Coach Justin Kosek of the Springfield Tigers girls soccer team. Coach, thank you once again for coming on, and welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I always appreciate any support you can show us.
Coach, I mean, let's first and foremost just start off with, I guess, a season outlook coming up this season. You guys obviously a successful 21 campaign. How do you sustain and maintain that success going into this season, and what are we looking at on the field?
I think over the last 2 years, our league has grown exponentially, and it's gotten much tougher. Waterloo really made a huge jump last year. Champion is always a really good team. Barry does a great job at Crestview building them up. Brookfield's getting better. Newton Falls is getting better. Liberty comes into the league this year, and hopefully they can maintain the full schedule. And we've never played them, so just a different group of athletes that we'll have that we've never seen before. So it's going to be different. We've lost a lot in the last 2 years as far as graduating seniors and skill that we had to replace. And I feel pretty strong about this group that we have. I wouldn't sleep on us. I wouldn't think that we've lost too much just because, I mean, we have an incoming, we only have one freshman coming in, but she's a good one. She's going to help us a lot. The sophomores, juniors, and seniors have stepped up big time. And I think we have some big plans this year. Obviously, number one is setting the goal of winning the league. So we got to start off strong with that.
You know, you are returning a lot of Leonard winners from last year as well, but I think the big name that probably goes under the radar because most goalies do, but you're returning Caitlin Capelli, who had 135 saves last year, was a lockdown defensively, kept balls out of the net. I mean, to return someone like her, you know, what's that mean to this team to have an experience like that come back?
I mean, she's a 3-year starter now, and she has fully 100% bought in this year. And she's been a big part of the team over the last few years, but to see her fully buy in all summer long this year, and just be a true full member of the team from day one this year, I think the sky's the limit for her this year. I mean, I don't know how tall Caitlin is. She's 6'6'1", extremely athletic, a smart girl, learning how to talk to her defense. She should just age and years of experience. She should anchor our defense back there. Hopefully she doesn't have 130 plus saves this year, but if she's forced to, I have faith that she'll do it. We really trust her back there a lot.
Who are developing as some really key vocal leaders in your new upper class?
We have sophomore Hannah Stouffer is going to be one of our inside defenders, and junior Emma Sanders is going to be the other one, starting wise. And they've both worked really hard this year, at least this summer, as far as understanding what to say, how to say it, how to not be perceived as just screaming and hollering at your teammates, but instructing. Kendall Mann's another one. She's a sophomore. She'll be another inside defender. And the big thing we've tried to teach them this summer is not to be reactive, but to be proactive. We don't need them yelling at somebody on the field because of what just happened and telling them what they know what just happened. If they got beat, they got beat. We need to tell them what to do next to get in position so we don't have compounded issues. And I think that's what the three of them have really done a really nice job of this year, learning and accepting and just embracing that that's what we need them to do.
This team has a tradition of success. You're back-to-back MVAC champions. You've had a lot of success, especially in those last 3 years. How have you been able to get the girls to respect that tradition, but also realize that they're not defined by those teams and they are a new team themselves and they come in with their own identity?
Yeah, we do a lot of that in the summer. We go to showcases, which seems like you're just going to play soccer, but we do tell the girls it's soccer first, it's fun second, but we make sure that we set stuff up for them to get to know each other in different ways, get to know not just the group of 4 or 5 of them that hang out outside of soccer, but get to know everybody that you generally wouldn't hang out with outside of soccer. We don't want them to just be friendly because they're on the same team. We want them to know each other and be friends. So we spend a day in Campfield, which a lot of the local teams do, and Phil does a really nice job running that out there. But it was nice this year because our games weren't back to back to back to back. It was spread out throughout the course of the day. So we spent 6-7 hours together. We go to Columbus for a weekend. We did that 2 weeks ago, and I force them 5 or 6 girls into a hotel room, and we split them into ways that they normally wouldn't pick themselves. And we do a night at Dave and Buster's, eating dinner, playing games. We do games and food in the lobby. We do a lot of team challenges during the summer. We try to end practice with something fun every day. We went to lunch. We have our first scrimmage tonight against Beaver Local, so we went to lunch today after practice. As much as we can get them doing together off of the soccer field, I feel like that is where our success comes from.
Is there a different approach from you as a coach, or that you tell the girls as players when you're defending a league championship as opposed to chasing one?
Honestly, not at all, because we talk about every year. Like this year, I said we have 1 freshman coming in. I think we lost 6 seniors, maybe 7 seniors. But if you lose 1 player and bring 1 player in, it's a completely different team from year to year. And we stress that to them. We stress that I don't care who started last year. I don't care what positions you played last year. It's wide open. It's a different team. It's a different year. People get better. People don't work as hard in the off season. Understanding increases, and it's just truly one game at a time. We don't really talk about winning. I said this to you guys last year. We don't talk about winning games, what we have to do to win a game. We talk about the small things and taking care of those little things and building them step by step so that you can set that end goal of a league championship, a district championship, and then hopefully beyond. I think you need to get a little lucky to keep going from that point on. But the skill can get you there, and that's how we approach the season every year.
9th season at the helm. What makes Springfield such a special place to coach, and what makes you keep coming back to it?
Listen, I grew up out here. I graduated from here. I played football, basketball, ran track. I had some phenomenal coaches out here. I still talk to a lot of the coaches that I had. We live out here. My kids go here. They both played sports. Kylie graduated a couple years ago, is playing in college. Kaysen's playing football, basketball, and track. It is unlike any other community that I've seen. The support you get, the contact you get just from stopping in somewhere and running into somebody you haven't seen in 10 years. And it's a 15, 20-minute conversation. Like you've been friends the entire time and you've never grown apart. It just means something when you're from here. So to be able to come back and get the opportunities to coach here that I've had, I truly cherish them. I always said from day one, I set one of my goals as 100 wins. And I always said, I want to get all of them at Springfield. I didn't even want to entertain the thought of going somewhere else to continue doing it. I wanted to do it here. And I've been lucky enough to have an administration that backed me and kept at least asking me to come back so far. We'll see if it continues.
What, in saying that, and you mentioned the coaches that really had an impact on you, what's some of the best advice you've received from a coach in your career that you've really held on to going into being a coach yourself?
Don Evans was the assistant track coach when I came through here. Reno Free was the head track coach. Don's son is actually my nephew-in-law now. And I talk to Don regularly. And the best thing he ever told me coming through here, especially when Kylie was coming through the programs and I was going to have her on the basketball team and the soccer team, he just said, make sure you take steps back and you are always a parent first. And you see those moments as a parent, not just as a coach. And he told me that. My wife was always really, especially Kylie's senior year, she was really good at just making sure that I was able to stay in the moment and embrace them as a parent and not just as a coach. And like I said, I got that from Don Evans, and that's probably the best piece of advice I've ever had as a coach.
I know you've played plenty of sports. You've coached a couple. You're coaching soccer for the 9th season. What is one sport that you haven't coached yet that you think you would make a pretty good coach on that field if you had to pick another sport?
I would love to coach golf. I would absolutely love to coach golf. I mean, if we had golf when I was in high school, I probably would not have played football. Practices would have been a lot more fun. Hopefully my game would be a lot better right now than it is. I look at Dom Del Torio, who was our basketball coach when I was going through. He's now our golf coach. And I think to myself, man, that guy gets to go out and play golf every day with those kids. That sounds like a blast.
You know, you told me before the show that we almost had you on the golf course today.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was going to play with Don Evans' son. That's what I was playing with, my nephew.
That question would have been right in pocket for that
Yep,
for that spot.
We weren't sure the weather was going to allow us to get off.
Coach, I mean, no doubt looks to be a fun season. I guess if you could put into just a few words what we can expect from this 2022 campaign, from this edition of the Springfield Tigers, what can we expect, whether that's attitude-wise, personality-wise? What do you think this team's identity is looking like early on?
They're going to be, it's a hardworking group. It's probably one of the hardest working overall groups I've ever had. They're going to come to play every day, and they're not, I can promise one thing: we will not lose a game because the other team is outworking us or because the other team's in better conditioning shape than we are. We will outdo teams at both of those things in all 17 regular season games and into the playoffs, I believe.
Coach, last year your players came on the show. They gave a call out to the students. They made sure that the student section was good at your games, and they definitely answered the call, the Springfield students. You're going to have to keep us updated on how the Springfield students do this year, and we'll bring some of your players on to give them another shout out. But before we let you go, and I know we're going to have you on again, and we do want to give you the chance to shout out your staff, the coaching assistants, and some of the people that have helped you build this Springfield soccer program to what it is.
I actually have a new assistant this year. It's Gina Vecchione, which is one of my juniors' moms. She wasn't real sure about taking it, but she's bought in. And I think that seeing it from this side of it, she's really loving what she's doing. One of my former players, Megan Mills, is going to volunteer for us this year. She played at Westminster for 4 years and is just a very knowledgeable player. So I'm excited to have her. We have just started. We played a session in the spring, and they're getting ready to play their second session now. We started a middle school program out here, playing Niles and Boardman and Campfield and Poland and everybody else that is lucky enough to have a middle school program. And Spencer Gavalier is not even a Springfield kid. He's from Hubbard, I believe. And he has volunteered his time he's coaching them 3 or 4 times a week. He's coaching all the games. He put in all the paperwork to get approved for it. It's kind of been the piece that we've been missing, and we've been fairly successful without that piece, but we don't really have a strong travel program out here, and the rec league only goes for 4 weeks in the summer. So that's kind of been my feeder system. But to have Spencer do what he's done with this middle school group of a few 5th graders, but mostly 6th, 7th, and 8th, and getting them ready to play with us next year, we are very excited for that. And then obviously, I mean, Mark Carden in the past and Bob Beam coming in this year as our new AD. We just have a lot of support. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of parental support. There's a lot of backing. Anything I need, I get like crazy from the first person I ask for it from. So again, community is awesome. I wouldn't trade this place for the world.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and being on this show. You're one of the big friends of Running Point. We hope to have you on as the season goes on.
Thanks for having me, guys.